Hello students, welcome to I'm Anubhav Sharma. Welcome to Scholars, your one-stop solution for UPSC preparation, your IAS preparation. So students, we are having this live session right now for all the students who are preparing for this year prelims. Let's just wait for some more people to join. Hello Apeksha, good evening. So the whole idea of this session is that we'll actually be discussing about our revision strategy for prelims 2020. That is mainly with respect to polity. And what we have done is to break it down into two aspects. The first is we'll be discussing about what are the do's, what are the musts that you must be doing, and we'll also be discussing about what all are the don'ts, that is things that you should not be doing at this point, right? So let us just wait for a few more people to join. So, students, if you have joined, please just ping me here so that we know that how many people have joined. So let's start with our session. So essentially, as I just discussed, the whole idea is that we'll be discussing about everything that we need to study for prelims. Polity, and we actually understand everything that is important with respect to things that you need to keep in mind for revision of polity, right? So students, my name is Anubhav Sharma. I am a UPSC civil services expert, and I'm actually a faculty for Indian polity and ethics at Scholar. So let's start with the do's. So the first thing that we need to keep in mind, students, is that essentially right now what we are talking about is to understand how exactly should we be approaching our prelims polity preparation. And now the fact that we are left with only about 60 days of time in order to prepare everything, and it's not like you have to prepare only polity, you would need to prepare other subjects also along with it. So essentially what I am presuming is that you have done some sort of preparation for polity already. And keeping that in mind, you are trying to find that effective way in which, in the minimum time possible, you are able to do that kind of revision which can get you marks with respect to questions that are getting asked in polity, right? Now, first thing that we need to, of course, keep in mind is how many questions are getting asked in polity. Well, about 12 to 22 questions gets asked in UPSC prelims exam for polity. Now, you can imagine that 12 to 22 questions potentially mean around 24 to 44 marks in your prelims examination, and we know the cutoff of the exam will be anywhere around 105 to 106 if we were to keep the same level of toughness as it was during the last few years. Now, if that is the case, the whole idea is that if about around 40 marks, let's say you're able to get out of those 106 marks, you're essentially talking about 30% of the cutoff itself. Thus, the point here what we need to keep in mind is that Indian polity is one subject for which you cannot take the portion, the syllabus in a light manner. Now, how exactly people go about in terms of studying Indian polity? Well, of course, there are two most important subjects with respect to it. The first is, of course, the M. Lakshmikant book, which people are following, which is an excellent book. And second, which some people are not following, that is NCERTs, which are very, very important for your prelims examination preparation. Why exactly so? The reason is very simple. The reason is that NCERT is one source from which few questions are getting asked, which generally is confusing students. They are confusing students in a way in which they aren't quite able to grasp as to from what exactly will be the right answer among the options given, right? Now, the point is, Where exactly UPSC is asking these questions from, the questions which we call to be confusing ones? Well, the source is these NCERTs as what I'm discussing, right? So, what exactly have we understood so far before we start with the do's? The first thing is that we would need to study Lakshmikant properly. We would need to study NCERTs of polity very nicely, so that our preparation is holistic, our preparation is complete with respect to Indian polity, right? Now, let's start with the do's, things that we need to keep in mind. The first and foremost is that you would need to make your revision notes and you should be revising them as many times as possible. Look, ideally, I would suggest that you need to revise it at least 3 times. I have spoken to a number of people who have cleared this exam. I have spoken to those people who find it very easy to clear prelims examination, because prelims, as we know, is more about understanding what all are the right options. It's not so much about giving your subjective knowledge about the question. It is more so about understanding which among the 4 options given to you is correct. Thus, the whole idea of cracking prelims examination is for you to make very effective revision notes. These revision notes will be the way in which you'll be able to revise everything that is important for Indian polity. You'll be able to recall everything that you would need to remember in the examination, and it becomes more so important. Why? For the simple reason that when you are studying only Indian polity, perhaps you can afford to go through the books again, but here you would need to study a number of subjects. You would need to study your geography, you would need to study your environment, you would need to study a number of subjects, and you would need to prepare them simultaneously. As such, having those very important key points, those revision notes, can be very handy in terms of not getting confused in the examination with respect to different questions, right? The second thing you need to keep in mind is that when you're approaching your revision for Indian polity, you first would need to identify those important chapters from where the question is most probable to come from. What exactly are these important chapters? Well, a simple analysis of previous year question papers of UPSC will tell us that essentially there are few chapters like Parliament, like fundamental rights, like DPSP, like amendment procedure of Indian Constitution, like the writs, judiciary, or how exactly judiciary function. All these things are very important and can be categorized as the important chapters of Indian polity. Thus, my advice to you would be that when you are preparing for Indian polity, one of the most important do's is to first identify those important chapters and study them as many times as possible. It may very well be that your idea of revision is not just covering those revision notes that you have made out of NCERTs and your Lakshmikant, but it must also include those important chapters which will fetch you, the probability of a question getting asked from there is maximum. I hope you are able to understand the importance of studying and revising important chapters as many times as possible. And I have given you some of the important chapters like Parliament में भी नो मनी बिल, फाइनेंस बिल, इसकी डिफरेंस पे आ सकता है, पार्लियामेंट्री प्रोसीजर्स जो अलग अलग होते हैं, स्पीकर की पावर, स्पीकर का रोल, इवन विद रिस्पेक्ट टू क्वेश्चन ऑन प्रेसिडेंट कैन आल्सो बी आस्क्ड. एज सच पार्लियामेंट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. आई हैव आल्सो स्पोकन अबाउट फंडामेंटल राइट्स इज इंपॉर्टेंट. DPSP are important. What exactly are the DPSPs? In fact, there are some DPSPs which were brought about by amendment procedures. We have seen some questions based on this aspect has been asked in UPSC in last few years. So that again is something important for you to remember. Then there are different ways in which articles of Indian Constitution can be amended. This is also important for this year. Why? Because we saw Article 370 being made ineffective by an amendment made by the legislature. Thus, again, amendment procedures, what all are the different ways in which amendment can happen is important. Then we also spoke about writs and judiciary. If all the writs, different type of writs, constitutional bodies again is something that you cannot miss. Thus, the second do here is that you should focus on important chapters in your revision strategy. Then there are something called periphery chapters, and you may wonder what exactly am I trying to explain you when I say periphery chapters. Well, the idea is pretty simple. Essentially, if we were to notice UPSC questions on polity, what exactly do you see? That there are some questions which are being asked from certain chapters, and these chapters are not generally those chapters on which we kind of give our attention to. The point I'm trying to say here is that there are some chapters like preamble of Indian Constitution. There are some chapters like chapters on important amendments to Indian Constitution. Then there are chapters like what all are the different schedules of Indian Constitution. These chapters are those chapters which generally are not included in the articles that we are studying. For example, when we talk about fundamental rights, what exactly are fundamental rights? Everything that we see in the part 3 of Indian Constitution, it includes Article 14, Article 15, Article 16. We have prohibition of untouchability, Article 17. We have right to life, Article 21. So these all are articles. The same applies for fundamental duties. The same applies for the office of president, parliamentary procedures, so on and so forth. But when we talk about topics like preamble, we talk about schedules, we talk about important amendments. What exactly are these chapters? These are more of periphery chapters which are not exactly at the heart of Indian Constitution, at the heart of Indian polity, but nonetheless are very, very important. And a trend that is very much identifiable here is that UPSC is asking questions on these periphery chapters, and they are asking it every year. Thus, make sure not just you're covering those important chapters, like the chapters that we have discussed, you are also identifying those chapters which do not really come in the articles of Indian Constitution, but nonetheless are important. Then the fourth important aspect that we need to understand is the MCQs. Why MCQs? Because essentially clearing prelims examination is to answer the MCQs correctly. And the thing about MCQs is that it does not test your subjective knowledge. It does not test how well do you understand a topic. All it tests is, are you able to identify the right option? Are you able to identify the right answer? And the nature of questions which UPSC is asking generally entails those options which are very confusing. They are so confusing that even if you have prepared a lot of times, even if you have done revision, you would still get confused and you may mark the wrong option. This is something which students often call as silly mistakes, and these silly mistakes can be taken out only if you have done enough MCQ practice. But what exactly do we mean by MCQ practice? Well, there are different ways in which you need to practice this MCQs. The one is of course the question bank. Second is sectional test, and third is mock test. Why exactly do we need to categorize it into three categories? For the simple reason that the whole idea is that not only are you able to get overall command on Indian polity, it needs to be done in a step basis. So let's say you are covering the first 20% of Indian polity. At that time, you need to ensure that MCQs with respect to the first 20% are being done on a simultaneous basis. In fact, this is one of the biggest reasons for what we have done at Scholar is to make sure that the MCQs, the test series that you will be giving with us, will actually have sectional tests, and this sectional test has been designed in such a manner which aids your revision, which helps you to grasp the concepts in a manner that you will not get confused in the examination. In fact, what we have also done is to ensure that in the MCQs that we are including, high degree of scrutiny is happening with respect to the quality of MCQ, because a lot of times what we see is that a lot of institutes are trying to make questions which are either very easy or for that matter very complicated, which never quite hits the right temperament of the UPSC question. The whole idea is that are we preparing for the questions that can be asked in UPSC? That was the main idea when we were designing these MCQs, and when you have a look at it, you yourself will get convinced that this is perhaps the MCQ set which comes closest to the standards of UPSC. So this is the fourth do that you need to keep in mind, that your preparation for Indian polity for prelims examination is not done if you haven't practiced enough MCQs not just based on the mock test, but sectional MCQs which acts as question bank, and of course the mock test. Then finally, the fifth do that I would want you to understand is that current affairs development in polity and governance is again very important for Indian polity. Now, students, generally, if you were to look at the type of questions that are being asked in Indian polity in the UPSC prelims examination, what you see is that they aren't asking that many questions with respect to current affairs directly, but the emphasis on the static part which is linked with events of the current affairs events is very visible. So for this year, one can very well argue that a question could be asked on anti-defection because of what we are seeing in Rajasthan currently and what has happened in Madhya Pradesh. So a question on anti-defection is something which I can vouch can very well be a question that will be asked in this year UPSC exam. In the same way, a question can also be asked with respect to territory of India, union territories. Why? Because we know that after scrapping of Article 370 in its essence, what has essentially happened that Jammu and Kashmir has been made into two territories. As such, this topic, that is territory of India, what all are the procedures, Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, is very important for this year. So what exactly are we trying to say with respect to this? Make sure that you are very well versed with the current affairs development in Indian polity and governance, and make sure that your strategy of revision is also including everything that you have studied in current affairs. In fact, this is the biggest reason what we have done in our course that we are running for Prelims 2020 is that we have sectionalized current affairs in a manner in which when you are studying about Indian polity, instead of going by months, all you need to do is to go by the material that we have prepared for Indian polity current affairs. And at one place, you'll find all the material for Indian polity current affairs in a manner that while you are studying for the static part, you can also study for the current affairs aspect of Indian polity. I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to say here. Essentially, you would need to prepare the static along with the current affairs. So you would need a strategy, you would need a way in which you are covering the static part while you are also covering the current affairs part. As such, having both of them at one place can increase your convenience and can actually increase your productivity. So what all are the 5 do's that we have understood here? First, the importance of having revision notes, because now only 60 days are left. You would need to have your own revision notes. The revision notes is important because it should include both M. Lakshmikant and NCERTs. In fact, that was the emphasis on our part when we created the revision notes at Scholar, that revision notes should be something by which students are able to grasp the concepts, they are able to recall the concepts in a very quick manner, while we have also included some detailed lectures along with detailed notes. The whole idea is that if a student is having any confusion with respect to revision notes, the student can easily jump to detailed notes and can understand the concept easily. At the same time, if the student still wants some kind of guidance, some kind of way in which he is able to completely understand what is being taught, what is the topic, then we have the lecture series designed in a meticulous manner that you can clearly identify which topic is in which lecture. I hope this point is absolutely clear. Then the second thing that we discussed was the important chapters. I said like the idea of cracking prelims examination and to prepare for Indian polity is to emphasize on those topics more which you know have greater probability for the question to come from. Then we talked about periphery chapters. Essentially what periphery chapter means, those chapters which are not the part of the articles of Indian Constitution. There is a tendency on the part of UPSC to ask questions on these periphery chapters. Then we talked about importance of MCQ, which is perhaps the most important do here. No matter how many times you have studied, make sure that you are doing as many MCQs as possible, because that will be the key. If you ask any topper, how exactly should I be preparing for MCQs, how exactly should I be preparing for prelims, he would say that MCQ practice is at the heart of it. Then finally, current affairs development in polity and governance is very, very important. We need to make sure that our preparation for static is being complemented with our preparation for current affairs. And at Scholar, what we have done is to prepare a compendium for the current affairs of last 1 year, last 1.5 years of polity in a way that you are able to prepare for both static as well as current affairs polity. So students, if you go to our website, what essentially would you see? You would see this page. Here, you actually see the courses that we are running. You would also see something that we call as mind maps. What are these mind maps? Look, the whole idea is that we have to find ways in which we can study, we can revise as soon as possible, as quickly as possible. So what we have done here is to include a tool called mind map, where our team has built those mind maps based on those key topics which are very important for your examination for this year. And not just that, this page will actually help you. Every mind map will help you in a way in which you are able to grasp everything that is important for that topic. So essentially, when we look at here, what exactly do we see? We see Government of India at 1935. This is a topic which is important both for your Indian polity and it is important for your modern history. We know that. But when we are studying this topic, generally it takes us good half an hour, 45 minutes to revise it. What we have done here is to bring all that content of about 15 to 20 pages into one page of this mind map. What exactly is it saying? So it's saying all the provisions that happened with respect to Government of India Act of 1935 is here. What exactly were the steps? What were the provisions with respect to the legislature? What were the provisions with respect to the composition of Act? All of that has been explained here in a manner in which you can study it in about 5 minutes. It will also bear you one more utility. What exactly are these? Just before the exam, if you want to study it, all you need to do is to go through these mind maps. Within 2 to 3 minutes, you would have completed this topic of Government of India Act. This is where we have worked a lot in terms of creating these mind maps, not just for polity, but you would have mind maps for ancient history, for medieval history, for modern history, for art and culture, for geography, for economy, and also for some miscellaneous topics, which would include all things that we believe are important for prelims examination. So please go and check out some of the mind maps that are open for you to see, and we will be creating more than 60 mind maps for you that will include 60 most important topics for prelims for this year. Here again an example of a mind map. So what do we know? We know for art and culture, Indian classical dances is something which is very important, but we also know that more often than not, students get confused with Indian classical dances. So what we have done is to create a mind map. Here you have Bharatnatyam, Kuchipudi, Kathak, Manipuri, Kathakali, Odissi, Mohityam. All these are the 8 classical dances of India, and we have also mentioned all the important features that you need to keep in mind. If you just go through this mind map before the examination, you will not get confused between Kathakali and Kathak. You will not get confused between the features of Manipuri and Odissi for that matter. This is what the idea of mind map is all about. Here you will see some of the mind maps which are in process, which you will get if you subscribe to Scholar. Now students, let's come to the second part of our discussion, that is what all are the don'ts that we need to keep in mind, things that you just cannot afford to do, the mistakes that you must at any cost avoid. What all are these mistakes? The first is you should not overthink among options. Now students, what exactly am I trying to tell you here? When I talk to students, what I see is that they have a tendency to overthink among the options that are being given in an objective question. For example, there was a question on right to vote. Is it a fundamental right? Is it a legal right? Is it a constitutional right? Or is it a normal right or some other right? Now, students have a tendency to overthink for questions like this where they shouldn't. This overthink will not happen if you were to understand that essentially UPSC is looking for an answer. The right answer for UPSC would be the one which is mentioned in the NCERT. If it is mentioned in the NCERT, that is the answer with which UPSC will go about. So what exactly are the things that is mentioned in the NCERT? Things which are very simple and straightforward. They do not want you to get complicated ideas over there so that you get confused. So for such questions where you think that option could be among the 3 or 2 which is there and you think both seems equally right, just don't overthink about it and take that option which you believe is the most obvious one. With respect to right to vote, we know the most obvious answer for it was that it is a constitutional right. Why? For the reason that indeed it is not a fundamental right because it's not mentioned in the part 3. Indeed, it cannot be a legal right. Why? For the reason though it is mentioned in the Representation of People Act, we know that legal right can be taken away by the act of a parliament. We know right to vote is at the heart of India's democracy. We cannot take away a universal adult franchise. We cannot take away the parliamentary structure because it is the part of basic structure of Indian Constitution. As such, right to vote is nothing else but constitutional right. This is also mentioned in ninth standard NCERT for Indian polity. And students, although there was a debate with respect to it being a legal right or a constitutional right, the fact that it was given in NCERT of ninth standard that it was a constitutional right, UPSC also in its answer said that we believe it is a constitutional right. So ultimately it will come down to what UPSC thinks is right, and that is what we need to mark as the answer. Coming to the second point, you should not invest too much time in tricky questions. What exactly what I'm trying to say here? That there are always those one or two questions which are being asked in polity exam, in polity questions, which are very tricky. For example, last year there was a question on a convention of Lok Sabha, which is generally not given anywhere. So it's a very tricky question. Whenever you see a tricky question, you should not let yourself to get nervous. All you need to do is to just move ahead. If you can take an educated guess based on something that you know, well, you can afford to do so if you haven't attempted as many questions as is required for you to comfortably clear the prelims cutoff. But if you think that there is a chance for you to make an error, more so when you have attempted some of the questions in an effective manner, it is better for you to just skip it. There is no time, there is no point in investing too much time in tricky questions. So this again is very important for you to remember, that just focus all your energies on those questions where you know you have a chance of getting them right. Wherever there is a tricky question, a question for which you do not really know much about, do not worry about it. If you have studied well, there is a very high chance that almost everyone must be facing it to be a tough question, a tricky question. So instead of risking a mark on it, your 1/3 mark negative marking on it, it's better that you move ahead with the next question. Third point, you should not forget to revise short notes 1 week before the prelims. This again is very, very important. Now students, when we talk about Indian polity, as I have explained in my introduction, we are talking about questions ranging from 12 to 22. That means that about 30% of your cutoff is about getting your Indian polity right. If that is the case, what you certainly cannot afford to do is to not revise it just before the examination, because you know the number of questions can reach up to 22. Thus, keep it in mind that you have your revised short notes ready with you, and you have revised it at least 1 week before the examination, so that there is no scope for any confusion. This again is one of the emphasis that we have in our course, that how well we are able to make those short notes for the students, because we at Scholar understand that there are students of all types, students who haven't made their short notes so far, students who haven't made their short notes as effectively as they should have. Keeping all those students in mind, we have a dedicated team which has worked on developing very fine short notes for UPSC prelims examination. These short notes are so crisp and so effective that it effectively will be able to help any student who has studied Indian polity from NCERTs or from Lakshmikant, or for that matter they have gone through the detailed notes that we provide. Any student will actually find these short notes to be the most effective one. Secondly, it will also fast track your preparation, for the reason that compared to that student who is still making short notes for the revision, you already have these short notes with you. I hope you are able to understand the importance of revising short notes and importance of short notes. You must revise Indian polity short notes 1 week before prelims. Coming to the fourth point, you should not wait for syllabus to get over to start MCQ practice. This again is a common mistake, students, that I am seeing in all sorts of students, even students who are very good with studies. This is a mistake that they often make. What exactly is this mistake? Look, when we talk about Indian polity, it may not be necessary that you know everything about Indian polity, because it's a very wide thing. It's the study of Indian constitution. But whatever that you have studied, it is important for you to have command over it. So if you are following a strategy where you say, sir, let me first complete everything that is there in Lakshmikant, let me just read all the NCERTs, then only I will go and jump into MCQs, you are committing a mistake. The whole idea is that you can never actually have complete command over Indian polity. What you can do is that with respect to whatever you have studied, you have done the MCQ practice for those parts. So whenever you are whenever you are preparing for Indian polity, just keep in mind कि जैसे जैसे आप important sections को खत्म करते जा रहे हैं, whenever you are completing the parts of Indian Constitution, you are doing the MCQs of that part. सेक्शनल एमसीक्यूज इसीलिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाते हैं, सब्जेक्टिव एमसीक्यू, सब्जेक्ट वाइज एमसीक्यूज इसलिए इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाते हैं बिकॉज दैट गिव्स यू प्रॉपर कमांड ओवर वॉट एवर यू हैव स्टडीड. So it may very well be that around 20 questions got asked in Indian polity, and there were 3 questions which were asked from those chapters for which you are not prepared. But at least with respect to those 17 questions for which you have prepared, the fact that you have done MCQ practice, your propensity to make a mistake will be very less. So what exactly I'll be trying to say? That you should not wait for the syllabus to get over before you start with MCQ practice. Start your MCQ practice as and when you are covering the syllabus. And this is again where Scholar will be a very important tool, because our MCQs that we are giving, the mock tests that we are giving, are arranged in a way in which you can cover the portions of Indian polity. I hope you are understanding what I am trying to say here, that you should not wait for practice for MCQ till you have completed the syllabus. As and when you are completing your syllabus, cover the current affairs related to it and also cover the MCQs linked with it. Then you should not underestimate the expertise, advice and guidance. This is something which again students do. Now students, one of the things which I believe firmly, that UPSC preparation is not just about knowing what you need to do, it is also about knowing what you shouldn't do. UPSC में अगर आपको एग्जाम निकालना है, चाहे प्रीलिम्स हो, चाहे मेंस हो या इंटरव्यू हो, ना केवल आपको ये पता होना चाहिए वो सारी बातें जो आपको करनी है, वो सारी बातें भी आपको पता होनी चाहिए जो आपको नहीं करनी है, जिससे आपको बचना है. ये चीज आपको पता कैसे चलेगी? हाउ एग्जैक्टली विल यू बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड थिंग्स विच यू आर सपोज टू डू एंड थिंग्स विच यू आर नॉट सपोज टू डू? दैट कैन हैपन ओनली इफ यू आर बीइंग गाइडेड, you are being mentored by an experienced faculty, a faculty who has seen prelims examination, UPSC patterns year in year out. They understand where exactly the trend is heading, where exactly the questions are going to come from, what all things are important in current affairs. For example, in this lecture itself, we spoke about anti-defection being very important for this year. We spoke about union and territory being very, very important. Article 123 is very, very important for this year. We also spoke about amendment procedure being important because Article 370 got amended. So all these things are very important for this year, and this can be advised to you only by a person who is experienced and who has been a mentor for years. This is again where we kick in, because our idea of creating a module, our idea of creating a course for UPSC examination includes not just the feedback of the students and the expertise of the faculties, very experienced faculties, but we also try to bring in the previous year toppers, their inputs as to what needs to be done, what exactly do they feel, what exactly were their strategies, and all of that gets reflected in the short notes, in the lectures that we are developing, in the detailed notes that we are developing, and the MCQs that we are developing. I hope you are able to understand what I am trying to say, that what exactly do we mean by expertise, advice and guidance. So what exactly are the don'ts that we need to keep in mind? That we should not be overthinking among options. Always keep in mind that the most obvious answer with respect to the confusing questions will be most probably be the right answer. Then we should not be investing too much time in tricky questions. This again is very important. Why? For the reason, if there's a question which is tricky and if you are prepared well, you know for a fact that it would be tricky for almost all the people. If you are prepared well, you would have done all the other questions right. Thus, it's better to avoid these questions. And every year, almost 1 to 2 polity questions are very tricky. As I said, last year a question was asked with respect to conventions of Lok Sabha, which is generally studied by no one. Anyways, so you should not forget to revise your short notes 1 week before the prelims. This is very important for polity. Why? Because it is about 30% of your cutoff for prelims exam. So something which is as important as that, you would need to have its short notes already prepared, and you must make sure that 1 week before the prelims you are studying them. Then you should not wait for the syllabus to get over before you start with MCQ practice. As and when you are completing the portions of Indian polity, make sure that you are also practicing the MCQs linked to it. Then you should not be underestimating expertise, advice and guidance. This, as I explained, this comes with experience. This comes with a person having an insight as to where the UPSC is heading, what exactly UP is expecting, and this is where we again could be a very important tool for you in order to clear this exam. Now students, what we have done here is that we have created a very special plan for you. The special plan has been created in a manner in which we are including many things. For example, we are including 400 plus concept videos. We are also including something that we call as Scholar Reels, that is 5-minute reel videos on important topics. Again, the whole idea is that if you are going through these Scholar Reel videos, you will be able to revise important topics in a very effective manner. For example, let's say there is a 5-minute video which explains you all the important sources from which Indian Constitution has borrowed its provisions. So you can see that even if we have watched it once before the examination, it will stay in your head. You can keep on watching these 5-minute videos whenever you want to take a break. At that time also, you will be able to find it to be a very important tool in your preparation. Then what we have also done, we have included some very important mind maps. These are 60 plus mind maps. What are mind maps? I have already shown you 2 of the mind maps that we have developed. These are ways in which you are able to cover very big chapters in just one page. Then what we have done, that the questions that we have created under MCQs are previous year pattern based. Finally, we have also included current affairs of last 12 months, and there will be periodic live sessions with respect to exam strategy as we had today from expert faculties. All this is getting done for a very reasonable price of 10,000 rupees, and students, the validity of it is not only till prelims but it extends till December 31, 2020, and the way in which we have created it for all the people who are even preparing for 2021 prelims will actually find all the content that we are providing to be very helpful, right? And above all the things that we have discussed, you will also be getting 30 mock tests for GS1 and 5 CSAT mock tests, because we do not want you to take your CSAT papers lightly. This again is something which you are getting within this 10,000 rupees. So what exactly are we seeing here? Essentially, this is a project. This is a package that we have created at a very cheap price, so that we are able to reach to all the students of India, all the people who are preparing for the exam with the use of our technology. And what we have done is to include all the videos, all the detailed notes, all the short notes. We have also included something that we call as mind maps and short videos. But we are also providing you with one of the most effective test series of India with respect to UPSC preparation, and that includes 30 mock tests. Students, this is all that you need to do with respect to mock test practice. 30 mock tests that we are providing you at Scholar, and above that we will have 5 CSAT mock tests that will make sure that no matter what, you will be able to clear the cutoff for CSAT. I hope you are able to understand what I am trying to explain here. I also hope that everything that we discussed today was helpful for you and was helpful for your preparation. For more such videos, please log on to scholar.com.